no shadow of a doubt that this is not a traditional marketing approach. If you've ever seen things like ClickFunnels or funnel gurus, they can get complicated very quickly. I can actually generate 5, 10, 20 versions of this and see which ones work over time. So this is fun, trying to build a funnel with AI tools in 2025. I go through how to quickly whip up landing pages, why that's important, spinning up different offers, using copy to reiterate and scraping the web to find the emotional insights you need to make things pop. The intention is to use the learnings from this webinar and run an actual campaign. I'll be setting it up in the next few days, and in a follow-up webinar, we'll be sharing the results. Enjoy, and as always, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you've got any questions. Cheers. Welcome. This is the fourth webinar of my webinar series, Building a Funnel with AI in 2025. Yeah, my name's Luke Marshall. Most people call me Marshy, and my background's sort of marketing, tech, sales. Have leaned into the AI space quite a lot in the last couple of years, and basically taken a very hands-on and experimental approach to building and creating things. And I pulled this quote for the presentation. Essentially, most people now who are sort of leaning into AI have heard of the term vibe coding. Another term that is probably less known, but it sort of sounds funny, is vibe marketing. And essentially what this is leveraging the AI tools that are available to do more with less and increase your output in a way that you couldn't have done a couple of years ago. And so this quote sort of talks to what the potential outputs are. There is no shadow of a doubt that this is not a traditional marketing approach. It's not thought out. It doesn't leverage all the smarts and IP that sort of people have done this for a long time have done. But what it does in its advantage is get through things through sheer law of numbers. And so what we'll talk to today, we'll address that and give a quick primer on how funnels are and what they work, in case it's a new concept for some of you, where they can actually benefit from AI and leveraging sort of vibe marketing. And I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can actually run AI with a funnel. So one is for research, and I'll give a hands-on example of how that worked as well. Landing page creation, and one of the other webinars I did was how to one-shot landing pages. I share that in the follow-up information as well, but essentially creating content and what people see on a page from a prompt. And then ad copy could actually also be leveraged quite heavily and benefits from a lot of research-led practices, which I'll talk to in a sec. This was very hands-on and very demo-led, and the webinars themselves and how I operate is very learn and share. In setting up this funnel, I will set it live, post this call, and in a follow-up session, we'll share the results and what I think worked and didn't work. It's sort of running one with the AI tools. Yeah, then at the end, we'll just open it up to questions and for those who are here live. So Funnel 101, in its simple form, it's essentially traffic, page, offer, and conversion. If you've ever seen things like ClickFunnels or funnel gurus, they can get complicated very quickly. In the land or age we live in of scattered attention, complex usually doesn't work best. You might have 3 seconds to capture someone's attention and make an offer to them or create something interesting. TikTok has probably accelerated that attention scarcity. And if you can't hook someone in the first 1 to 3 seconds, your offer's largely dead in the water. Why this is relevant for AI is because it's very hard to predict what's going to catch someone's attention in a second just using traditional marketing smarts. And so AI can actually help in this area through sheer laws of volume. So, how you can actually sort of leverage AI in this example, you simply want to vibe it. And so for your traffic, generating many variations of ad copy, of creative, of pages, of images. With Google VO3 now, you can generate video. And instead of relying on thought out and best practice, and I'm from that world, I'm merely testing and comparing and contrasting here. You can try a different approach, which is, okay, if we run 100 variants of this, what's the best 1 or 2? Let's run 100 variants of that. And then what's the next best 1 or 2 of that? And guaranteed, you are going to get to a more engagement-led outcome. Whereas the outcomes you want is up for debate. It's just started storming here, so apologies if you can hear the rain. So I ran an experiment running with an AI for a funnel, and the elements of my funnel, I just literally set this up over the last week. It's got an offer. I'll vibe code an interactive lead magnet for your agency. You know, I'll do it for $49 within 72 hours, knowing what I know. I'll refund you if you're unhappy, no questions asked. And you can install the funnel for someone, if they want it, using everything I've put together for a higher price. And so I don't know if this offer is going to work or not. I'm quite happy to vibe and test it through the approach though. And what else we need other than the offer itself? We need to make it research-led. We need ads or email or outbound or some way to get the offer in front of people and cold outbound. The landing page, we need to send them somewhere to convert, and then a conversion event. And so, based on what I put together, I went to a tool called Apify that lets you scrape Reddit comments at volume. And in this example, I've gone after subreddits like agency, marketing, B2B marketing, SEO, and just looking for the frustrations around lead generation and, using words like struggling, bottleneck, stuck, and seeing what it can scrape. And it's pretty hard to read here, but with this run, it's actually on another page. I might share it now, actually. And I don't think either of you have been to one of my sessions yet. I jump into live demo mode very frequently. So this is an example of a scrape I did with the tool called Apify. And this is the results I got. Essentially 4,000 comments of people venting their frustrations about, what their problem is with lead gen and what the struggles are and what their bottlenecks are. Now, going through 4,000 Reddit comments as an individual is impossible. And not impossible. It just takes a long time. And so what I did instead was chucked it into an IDE, which is a tool called VS Code. For those who aren't coders, the AI tools now are extremely powerful. If you just log into ChatGPT, you'll sort of get a pretty good outcome. But tools like Kilo, this is an extension that goes into VS Code. One of the best things that you can do is switch models on your prompts as you go. And so this example here, I fed it all the JSON in a folder and said, this is all the complaints that we've got. And then it generally created sort of the main themes around lead generation in this instance. So referral dependency trap, the cold outreach struggle. And this is sort of gold dust for a marketer because it's emotional language about something that is really frustrating for them. And then I literally got it to give me the verbatim quotes for referral dependency, lead quality versus quantity, and cold outreach. And so that's these words, like I can sense check them as well. But, it's quite a different way to go about your customer research. If you were, an established business and had hundreds of sales transcripts or lots of research-led persona discovery learnings, you could arguably do the same thing. But in the absence of that, just going online and seeing what they're saying on Reddit. In B2B, you can also do this with software reviews of your competitors. And Apify sort of has a scraper for everything. I am by no stretch, despite flexing a VS Code editor, I am not a developer. But what you can do with these tools like Apify is get information that ordinarily would require a developer to build. Cool. So based off that information, I then went ahead and go, okay, well, let's use all this ammo. Like what can we feed into this that's going to be really helpful for us? And so using a tool called a project that I have built in Claude, I've actually gone ahead and here we go. Gone ahead and created a project. And this is from another webinar, but I've got instructions on how to build a really fancy landing page with direct response copy. And so I went ahead and fed all that information with my offer, the quotes we had and what was found, and said, have a go at drafting a landing page for me with direct response copy. And the results were, on first pass, kind of shitty. Like I'd say, if we just have a look at the original, and it codes it all and everything as well. It's like, it's okay. Welcome, late joiner. We've recorded this as well, so no stress on being late. So the first version of this landing page is pretty shitty, but then you can sort of go back and forth and refine it over time. And I think in this instance, It took about 16 versions. And I got it to sort of mimic it in my brand look and feel. It still looks quite direct response led and crappy, but that's traditional marketer myself talking. Like you know, I can just test this and see what works and what doesn't. I then fed it into the coding tool and got it optimized a bit better. And so there's the landing pages there that we've created. Yeah, we've all heard of the term A/B test. I can generate I thought these two, based on the problem and territory, would be the most interesting. But I can actually generate 5, 10, 20 versions of this and see which ones work over time. I generally just want to start with 2 to see what happens. But yeah, it's a pretty powerful way to sort of go about it. I use a tool called Flow for my building of my site and web pages, but there's no reason why you can't use this with a WordPress. Ard is actually a very powerful tool for just knocking out landing pages very quickly. And yeah, now with what's capable, you can export the code directly in, and it moves pretty fast. Ad copy is a similar game based off the information I've scraped from Reddit, the emotional hooks and pains and barriers. I can generate the ad copy as well. The tool I wanted to use this as I was scrambling was admanage.ai. It's expensive, but lets you sort of one-click upload ads very quickly. Unfortunately, it's got a book a demo requirement at the start. So I will try and book a demo and set it up with them, but there's a chance I'll get gate kept because I don't know if I'll be a long-term customer unless this works extremely well. Some of the other tools out there for ad copy and creative, adcreative.ai. There was another one called Marco Polo with a MARKOPOLO for generating copy as well. These tools are sort of off the shelf and ready to go. My preference is to see if I can generate, if I can't use Ad Manage AI, is generate these images using Gemini, which is now getting pretty good. Cool. So yeah, what's next? Based off this experiment, I'm going to set this up. So, running the landing pages, ads and traffic to the landing pages, and I'll run some cold outbound as well to agency owners to try and measure what works. I'm building as I go, so I'm quite happy sharing the results in a few weeks and just the live and raw data. I'm not fussed, and I think there's value in whether it works or not. And as you get a sense from these webinars, I'm just experimenting. Like I'm playing with these formats and seeing what's fun to do and adds value to the people that come. Or because I'm recording them, I can generate more content from these as well. At this stage, really after feedback. So if you've got any, feel free to LinkedIn DM me afterwards. And I'm also opening up a school. We've had probably 6 or 7 people join already. I haven't done anything in it whatsoever, but I do want to create a vehicle for just replying and responding to people who have questions about AI. One thing I've picked up from this space is there's a lot of noise about it. There's a lot of hype, but practical application is a bit harder to come by. And so, yeah, I'm going to just say thanks for attending the webinar and hearing the recorded version of the content. As promised, I'm going to turn off the recording now just to create safety for any sort of questions you want to ask, and we'll go from there. Where is it? How do I stop there?